Welcome to Nutty Buddy Entertainment. The next award being presented today is the I Will Die on This Island Award. This is presented to the character, movie, or story that may not have been received well, but you liked. And the nominees are...
Oh. Okay, so let's look at our first honorable mention, Bully Maguire. I put this on the list because obviously the memes alone are worth him being in a movie. But Elliot, make your reasoning why he should. What island you're dying on here?
Because it is Raimi trilogy is immortalized in meme culture like the Star Wars prequels are. It's just they are forever. I just don't think perhaps we weren't ready for it in 2007. But when you look back at it, it's like Bully Maguire is so quotable now in this day and age. And every YouTube comment, every YouTube video you go on, you always see any Tobey Maguire quote over from Spider-Man 2 or when in Spider-Man 3 when he's Bully Maguire. We weren't ready, and props to Tobey Maguire for being a bit more quirky this time around. Like the symbiote sort of brings out obviously the more extroverted personality. Bully Maguire, underrated.
The pelvic thrust. That's all I remember. Is yeah.
Get on up. Drop that funkus soul.
Okay, let's go to the next honorable mention. I put the MCU version of Peter Parker. I know a lot of people are disappointed that we never got the Uncle Ben story in the MCU.
We didn't need to.
And that's where I fall, is like I actually like what they did with Peter Parker and Tony, and how his character arc was like he kind of wanted to be Tony Stark. He wanted to be an Avenger until Tony passed away, and he had this huge responsibility thrust on his shoulder, and then he wanted to be a kid, basically, right? He just wanted to be a kid. And so I like that story arc. So my hill that I'm going to die on is actually the story arc that MCU told. It's not as good as the Uncle Ben story, but it's fine. It's a good story. I like it.
Yeah,
it's different.
I like this. I really want to talk about my theory, but let's do the awards and then we'll talk about the theory another time.
Yeah. Okay. Theory. Okay, let's look at our first. So the first nominee is Spider-Man. The Amazing Spider-Man was actually a good movie. Neil, you want to hit on this one?
Yeah. Now, I think that now, and I think at the time I thought it was okay. However, last summer on Spider-Man Day, which is, Elliot, can you remind me which? I know it's in the summertime.
Oh yeah,
I don't know. Anyway, it was Spider-Man Day, and my son wanted to watch a Spider-Man movie. I said, "Well, you know, I've not watched this in a while. Why don't we watch The Amazing Spider-Man?" He wasn't really into it, but bear in mind, I hadn't watched it for a good 8 years at that point. I really dug a lot of it. I liked a lot of what they did with that Amazing Spider-Man movie. I liked that for a start, I was never a fan of organic webs. The Maguires, they're in the wrist. Weird. No. Sorry, just no. I liked the suit. I'm still not overly fond of. It's just it's wet spandex basically, isn't it? It looks a bit it's a bit slick, but I think Andrew Garfield was great. Dennis Leary, wonderful as Captain Stacy. Emma Stone, obviously, I've already mentioned it in this episode. I really liked her as Gwen Stacy, but it's not by any means a great Spider-Man movie, but it does a lot of stuff that I would have liked to have seen play out. It's just a shame that we get to the second one and all the stuff that I liked about this first movie. So the tech that you're watching him create his webs, and him in general, his Spider-Man is, and not to jump too far ahead, probably my favourite one we've had on screen thus far. All the quippiness is all how I would imagine it to be. So I ended up liking a lot of it. I thought it's a darker movie in terms of its overall packaging. It's darker than the Raimi movies are popping with color all the time.
Right.
And it gets a lot of it's desaturated, but yeah, I really enjoyed a lot of what I saw, and I thought it had a pretty solid finale as well. In spite of me not liking that lizard design, but I thought the Oscorp tower fight scene at the end, and even the crane swinging scene, yeah, I liked it. There was just a lot I found myself smiling through, and I thought, you know what, actually, I've talked this movie down a lot, but yeah, I'm fond of it, very fond of it.
Yeah, I think it's personally, I don't think it's a great movie either, but I think it's underrated. I think it's good.
Definitely.
You know? What about you, Elliot? How you feel about it?
I mean, it's a big jump for Mark Webb as well, because his previous movie was 500 Days of Summer.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of boded well in terms of the characterization that he got to tackle in Amazing Spider-Man, because there's a lot of heart he puts into obviously the characters in this movie, and it pays off as well. But yeah, because because you haven't watched our Spider-Bond, you haven't listened to our Spider-Bond episode fully all the way through, because I mentioned how, like, with some directors, obviously it's a bit of, sometimes the risk can pay off, like a big leap for like directors that go from independent films to big budget blockbusters, and in Chloe Zhao's case it didn't work, but for Mark Webb I'd say it definitely paid off better than I remember from 2012.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. Let's look at our next nominee, and I didn't know this one. I didn't know this was a thing. I love this movie, but on your list, Elliot, you gotta. I'll let you go on this one, but Far From Home. What is it? What is it?
There's a lot. I think it stems from High Top Films' analysis video, and since then it is created. I didn't know, and because of that, I didn't know it created an entire cult of a large group of people. I didn't like Far From Home. I didn't realise how, even I speak to people about it sometimes. Like, some people just don't like this movie whatsoever. I was quite shocked, because me and Neil came out of because we were quite skeptical after Homecoming, because Homecoming made a lot of creative choices, especially in contrast to previous interpretations of Peter Parker. Like, Tom Holland's Peter never really faced any consequences for the decisions he made in Homecoming. Like, he comes out unscathed of every situation which he should get in trouble for, whereas Far From Home, like, he starts to face the consequences of the decisions that he makes. And that Far From Home is a really good time. And when me and Neil watched it when he was recovering after his bowel cancer surgery, we thought, why do people not like this film? I get a good kick out of Far From Home.
Neil?
Yeah, it's, for me, it's a fun ride. I think for a lot of people, I try to make it through High Top Films video analysis on it, and I can't, because I get through the first 5 minutes and I think, oh, you're being really, there's a lot of real nitpicky stuff in there, and I go, this is too much.
Because JXE,
far too dramatic. Yeah,
because JXE was like, no,
it
doesn't quite
YouTuber,
work. Yeah, he kind of sort of like correct some of his criticisms in a way. Yeah, he's a YouTuber, Luke Gorman. Like, his Raimi analysis is world class, but other videos he's very hit or miss. Yeah,
it's too dramatic. High Top Films it's either this is a masterpiece or this movie broke me, and it's always with the drama, and I just haven't got time for it. I find it really grating, him as a personality as well. I'm just like, no, he's not for me.
Yeah, it's like the typical jaded cynic video analyst.
Yeah, which is what we got. There's an awful lot of jaded cynics who really hate this movie, but it's got a lot going for it. And I went to see it for a second time in the cinema in an X Plus screen, which is like not quite IMAX, but getting there in 3D. Was the only person in the cinema because it was a Thursday afternoon and I had a bit of time off, so I thought, I really want to go and see it again, and I want to see it in 3D. And I'm telling you now, the Mysterio illusions in 3D were exceptional,
especially the enhanced IMAX. The enhanced IMAX ratio as well, and
the Dolby Atmos mix with the sound was behind you and above you and to the sides. It was just a great visceral experience. And I'm sorry, but I have a lot of fun with Far From Home, and I can understand certain criticisms of it for sure, but some people take it way too far and get a little bit, throw the toys out the pram, spit the dummy out about it, when it is a lot of fun. And Jake Gyllenhaal as Mysterio, great.
I do get the criticism, the fact that it's another, like, oh, he got screwed over by Tony Stark, which they did already with Keaton.
Yeah, we'd already had that. Yeah.
Well, one thing that I did like about that is that, like, that's the consequence you have for being like a human at times, right? Like that sometimes you create enemies, and when you're gone, those enemies don't leave. So other people have to handle those enemies in a case of like a superhero world, right? Like just because Tony's gone, it doesn't mean like someone like Mysterio is going to be like, well, what do I do now? He's going to try to go after his legacy and stuff. So who does he go after? Well, the people that Tony passes this down to, whatever his legacy down to, and that was Peter in this case. So I get why people might not like the fact that like Tony or the Avengers are creating villains, but I think that's like why the connectivity of this world is so cool, is because every battle, everything that happens, it affects not just one of the heroes, but really it just affects the whole universe. So it's going to affect Peter Parker, you know. So I actually like that they do that because it's realistic to me.
Definitely.
Especially when you realise how out of depth Talos and Soren are as posing as Nick Fury and Maria Hills, because they obviously they're quite incompetent in terms of impersonating these people. So like, how was I supposed to know that these illusions were fake? You know, the suit and the craftsmanship, you know, it was absolutely flawless. It's like, oh, how were we fooled? It's embarrassing for a shapeshifter.
I thought the way they did Mysterio too, I thought that was so cool with the droids, and that first fight scene with him and Spider-Man in the warehouse, and he gets it. One of my favorite fight scenes.
That's one of my favorite MCU moments.
Yeah.
That the Hall of Illusions, like the empty building where he's just creating weird realm after weird realm, and he's inside a snow globe, and the snow globe is Mysterio's head, and he pulls it off. There's some great visual stuff.
Yeah, I know. So good.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see who our winner is now. Let's see who our winner is.
Yeah.
The winner of the I Will Die on This Island award goes to Far From Home. Is in fact a good movie.
It is. And I'm happy to, High Top, if you're listening, let's talk about it. Let's have it out. Not have it out. Let's have a adult discussion about it and what your problems are.
Yeah,
because I can show you what this movie is. It's good. Look, it is a good movie. I'm sorry, but I will not budge on that.
Yeah, Mr. Hunter, we won't be the typical MCU stands that attack you for having an opinion. We would legitimately, we would have a good discussion what we agree and disagree on. So yeah, come on, shooting the breeze if you're somehow listening to this.
Yeah, like I didn't watch it. You have me curious, but I just don't think. But anyway, let's just. So, what did you guys think of Far From Home? Did you guys think it was a good movie, or is it a movie that you'd rather not ever watch again? Please let us know in the comments, and let us also know what hill you guys would die on the Spider-Man live-action movies leading up to No Way Home. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed. Subscribe, like, comment below, and we'll talk to you guys soon.